Hello friends, welcome. Friends, this is going to be a very important video. Now I will encourage every viewer to watch this till the end because this is going to empower you to do certain analysis with your own hands, which you will find it impossible to get anywhere else in India. There is no website which will give you this capability. And let me tell you, at upfront, before you decide to switch off this video, that you will get an access to an app, web-based app, which will help you analyze the inflation data right with your own hands. Now, what is inflation? Inflation is a very important metric which impacts our lives. Now, why it impacts our lives? Because it is an indirect tax on the people of India. The value of the money dilutes. Whatever money that you earn, it gets diluted and it has less purchasing power as time progresses. All the government of India's policy, especially the interest rates on which the various schemes are related like loans, etc., are directly influenced by inflation. Then our budget, the amount of money the government of India spends on various social schemes also are impacted by inflation because it impacts the interest payments bucket of the government, which is a significant amount. It has gone as high as 11.9 lakh crores out of the total budget of 48 lakh crores. So understanding the character of inflation is extremely crucial. So what I thought is I tried various method visualization to tell the story and I was not satisfied because it was not coming out, I was not able to see the full story because understanding inflation, what is the character of the inflation over a period of time will empower the policy makers as well as those watching this to understand what kind of initiatives are required to contain inflation, where the government is going wrong. So it is very important to understand those nuances. And that's why everybody should have a power to analyze this on a real-time basis using various dimensions and cross-linking those dimensions in a single window so that they can understand the impact in various geographies, urban as well as rural. And this is exactly what this app is going to empower you with. And I'm going to today take you through this app, and before that, as I do always, I am going to give you the source of the data. Now this data is available in the RBI's website. Now you might have seen the MO, the Ministry of Statistics data is a standalone PDF file. It does not capture the trend. It only gives you a static value. Now, in order for you to get a complete picture of inflation, either you extract the data on a periodic basis and keep your file updated, or you go to the RBI's website, and in the RBI's website, you will get the table. This table you will get, which is called RBIB table 18, right? So this is the table number, and you can very easily find this table. So once you have this table, you will get this information in this form where there will be a month, and then there are three tabs. Actually, you should go to the CPI. Let me just go there. The CPI 2012 100 tab. This is the tab you should go. And here you will find that the data is available in this form. So you have got month here. Month is the first column. Then you have got the commodity description. Then you have whether it is provisional, final. Then you have got rural, urban and combined, where both the index as well as the inflation data is given. Now what is missing here? The missing part of this in this table is the weights, and which is also going to be very important to understand the character of inflation, which you can easily add using a little bit of coding, or you can do a cut and paste and do it in the page itself. Now what I have done is, because I have been able to understand a little bit of coding, I have been practicing it. So I am using this Jupyter notebook, and using this Jupyter notebook, I have created the data in this particular form, and I'm going to show you how this data looks finally. So this is how the data looks, which I have put in my app, and I'm going to demonstrate before you how the app looks. So this data has got the date column, and then we have got the description column, and then we have the value type column, whether it is index or inflation. Then we have value here, then we have weights here, then we have the weight corresponding of the weight, the value which is basically contributing to the weight. So that is nothing but the product of these two. The value multiplied by weight will give you this weight, WA column. So this column is going to be very, very important. I'm going to show you what this means and how you will be able to use this to analyze the data. Now, using this and using a Streamlit based application, which is the code here, right here, which you can go into my GitHub web page and you can get access to this code. This is absolutely free. You can just go here and have a look at it. It took me 3-4 days to prepare this application. So once you have this application, access to this application, you can understand how this app will work. The app works. Now this app, you can get a web-based access, which I'm going to put in the description of this video. So let me just show you how the app looks. So when you click on this link, or you cut and paste and just put it in a different tab, and then you press enter, you will be able to get an access to this application. So this application is going to show up here. Now what you have to do is you have to use the various menus in this application in order to understand the character of inflation, and I'm going to show you and demonstrate before you how to use this application. So I'll just put it as a desktop item, because then the application is going to look better. Now what you need to do is that you have got how many selection windows here, or drop boxes. One is the index. So index will one is the select metric type, where you can choose index and inflation, right? Whatever you want to choose here. And then you have to select the category type. What are the category? Main category type and the subcategory type. What is main category? If you look at this table, you will find that, for example, cereal and product 1, 2, 3, 4 till 12, these are subcategory, and it all converges into the main category, which is food and beverage. And pan, tobacco, toxicants are a subcategory, also a main category, like this. So you can basically go here and you can choose whether you want main category or subcategory. And then what you can do is you can, through the another drop down menu, you can choose the different geographical where you want to do an analysis. So you can choose rural, urban and combined, right? Just like I showed you in the table, the columns are given in the RBI table. And then if once you have made the choice, for example, if you choose all, then when you have all, then you can choose an individual dimension to compare. So I'm going to show you one by one without wasting any further time. Let's go and let's do this analysis. The first thing that we need to do here is to choose a particular category. Let's say main category, and then I will select a segment. Let's say rural sector. Let's say rural. So let me just choose rural. So you will see a display before you, and I'm going to explain to you what this display reads, so that you understand. Once you understand this, then it will become very easy. So in this display, you will find a scatter plot. The scatter plot is this table. This is the table of scatter plot where both index as well as inflation will get plotted. And there is a title here which will describe what this table are all about. And then on the side, you will find another table, which is a horizontal bar chart, which is going to give us the weighted contribution of that particular dimension to the overall index. Means, if let's say if the general index, this is because index is there, which is 105.1 on January 2013, then you multiply this 105.1 into 100, whatever the value you get, you put it here. Similarly, if you see that if the food and beverages in January 2013, the index was 105.5, you multiply that with 54.18, whatever the value, you put it here. So these values, 57.16, 3.43, 7.83 and 8.38 will add up to 105.1. So this will give you a very good indication that what is the contribution of a particular dimension to the main index. Because how do you calculate inflation? You take the value of this, go 12 months back, take that as a reference, subtract this value from 12 months back value and divide with the 12 months back value. That's how the inflation gets calculated. Now you can leave this aside for the time being, which is basically, this also has to be added. This also has to be added, the main category. So you have got this category, this, this and this, all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will get added, and then this will lead to this number, right? Now then we have how do we analyze this data? So there is a slider just in top of this table. So you can, using the mouse, you can just slide this slider. So as you slide this slider, you will find that these scatter plot as well as these numbers will change. So over a period of time, because the reference was roughly around 100, over a period of time, by moving this slider forward, you will get a very good idea as to which item has got the maximum price increase, because the higher the index value, higher will be the price increase. For example, pan tobacco intoxicant in October 2018, if you see that this is actually ahead in the race against all the other items. So this is ahead, though its weight is very less, which is 3.26, but you will be able to get a very good idea as to which item has become more costly compared to an earlier reference period. So I will just drag it, and you will see that by June 2024, you have these references. The general index is here. Then food and beverages is slightly ahead, and then we have pan tobacco is ahead of the game. Then clothing and footwear, then fuel and light here, and miscellaneous and consumer food price index, which is below here, right? Now, what you need to do is the following. You need to check that what has been the impact of the inflation on rural as far as main category is concerned. So instead of choosing index, let me just take inflation. Once I choose inflation, I will have the inflation numbers which I can drag and see how it has changed over a period of time. Now, in order to save time, let me just go straight to June 2024, which is the last month data. Now, if you look at this data, you will figure out very easily yourself what is going on. So you will find here, let me just take my pen, that will become easy for me to describe. You will find here the general index is actually, or the inflation for rural area, the total inflation is 5.66%. Out of which the food inflation, the food and beverage inflation is 4.5. Means if you take a basis point and multiply this by 100, 566, out of which 450 basis point is only, food is contributing 450 basis point of the total inflation of 566 basis point. So that is the contribution of food item, right, as far as rural is concerned, and rest is very, very minimal. If you see this, there are even the miscellaneous items, right, which is also a weight of 27.26, you will find that the contribution is only 0.95, right? Versus the food and beverages, the weight is 54.18 to the 100, which actually these things are going to add up to 100, right? 54.18, 3.26, 7.36, 7.94, and 27.27. Except this part, you can just ignore this, because this is the consumer food price index, which is an extract of this, right? Two items of this. Item number 12 and 11 are excluded, and you get this number, get this item. So you can just exclude this, and if you see this, you will find that food and beverages, which is more than 50%, is contributing almost 80 to 90% of the overall inflation, right? And then you will find that the miscellaneous, though it is a very significant item, it is contributing very less. So the character of rural inflation is food and beverages, where the consumer, even if you look at the consumer food price index, because if you look at food and beverages, two items are excluded here from the point of view of calculation of consumer food index, which are these two items, non-alcoholic beverages and prepared meal and snack and sweet, because they don't consider them as important. So this item, which I just showed you here down below, consumer food price index, that is exclusion of those two items, right? So this also is contributing to 4.32. Imagine the character of rural inflation. Now, in order to understand how the rural inflation has changed over a period of time, you can just drag this and just go a little bit behind and see how it has changed. That will give you a very good understanding of the inflation character till December 2023, June 2023. Now, let me just go a little bit further, and let's see how long this value stays very, very high. So November 2023, this value stayed high. Then you go down below September 2023, this value is still, you can say July 2023, the inflation was 7.63. The rural information, this value was 5.49. Then you go behind to May 2000, it went down, right? And then you go behind, and it was slightly higher, but still manageable. Then you go behind, it was still 50%, but it's manageable, right? And if as I drag this below and to dates which are in past, you will find that the character of India's inflation wasn't that much in rural area, focused on food. Today, the food contributes to a significant part of our inflation. That is the change which has happened in India as far as rural inflation is concerned. It's a matter of great concern. Food, the basic necessity of life, is contributing to 5.66%. Now, this insight is will not be able to get by looking at this number, 8.3%. That you will not be able to get. You need to look at the weights. You need to multiply this with the weight to look at the impact on the overall index. Because we are only interested in the overall index. Everybody is looking at the overall number, which is 5.66%. So that is what the power this tool is going to give you to understand the character of India's inflation. Now, let's look at the subcategory item in the rural area, which will throw some more insight. We looked at the main category. Now, let's look at the subcategory. Now, if you look at the subcategory item, what I have done here, this is the heading, which is going to tell you what item you are seeing at any point of time, right? This code I just designed 3 days back. There could be some level of instability, and I'm going to keep on improving this. But it is still stable, because that's why I took 3 days to basically record this video. So this is subcategory rural inflation, date of month, June 2024. Now let me just drag this, let me just go back and then drag this forward. Now before I drag this, let's look at this character of inflation as this point of time, which is June 2024. And you will find that out of the food bucket in the rural area, you will find that vegetable, look at this, vegetable, 30.2% of inflation in June 2024, and that is contributing to how much? 2.25% or 225 basis point of the total number of 566 basic point. Imagine what is going on. Vegetable in rural areas. This is where, this is the inflation. There is some fundamental problem. I do not know what is going on in the system. Now let's understand whether vegetable was a significant part of our inflation even in past, or this is a recent phenomena. If this is a recent phenomena, there are some structural issues which need to be addressed, which has got kind of changed over a period of time, where the major attention is required. So let's get back in time and see how this inflation has changed. Look, in October 2023, the vegetable inflation was not that much. It was 3.51%, and its contribution to the overall index was only 0.23, that is 23 basis point. Now, if I drag this further down, and you will see that it was negative, right? When? In February 2023. Out of the total inflation of 6.7%, which is still higher than what we see today, the vegetable inflation was higher. The milk product inflation contributed around 0.73, that is 73 basis point of the overall index of overall 672 basis point. And there are other items which contributed. Now, if I drag this further back and let's see. So oil and fat, 26.5% in December 21, it was 5.3 out of 536 basis point. Oil and fat contributed to how much? 112 basis point. Now, if I drag this again, and you can do your own analysis, because I'm just showing you how to use this. Now, vegetable was an important consideration in October 2020. It was 180, but never what it is today. So if I again go and see how much it is, you will find that it is 2.25. right, which of the total 566, almost 50%. Now, if I go back in October time frame, though vegetable was it is never been October. I think that it was the time frame. I do not know, because you can do your own analysis. See, vegetable was never such a big problem what it is today. It is very clearly evident. Look at this, and other dimensions also. So it was there in January 2020 also. So this is how you have to look into this whole aspect. So in January it was 45.4%, 3.39%, 7.73. Cyclically, every time frame there is a different impact of a different item in inflation. We can learn from this, because looking at the static data does not give us any insight. We can learn from this, how these overall things have changed. Now let me just do an urban analysis, because that is also going to give us good amount of insight what has happened in the urban area. And let's do main category. Now if I do main category as far as urban is concerned, you will find that as I move forward in time and we go to the current date, you will find that in urban area also food and beverages is becoming a huge problem. You see here, it is how much? It is 3.308 basis point. 308 basis point. So this is a matter of concern. India has become people of India is not able to afford food. The food items, I do not know what is the issue, right? 3.308 basis point compared to the total inflation of 439 basis point. So if you imagine that if we were able to manage food, we would have been able to get our inflation to a very, very manageable level. Even the miscellaneous items, right? You see, it is only 0.98. Housing is 0.58. Food is a significant item for inflation. So there is some structural issue that Government of India needs to manage. And that's why, look at this budget. The food subsidy part will become a very important part of this budget. And subsidy will not go down significantly given the problem that we are facing, because people will have a huge problem, especially those people who do not have disposable income. So this is going to have a huge impact. Right. So now because there a lot of time is passing, I'm going to show you one more capability of the tool that is going to make your analysis much more effective. So what you can do now here is that if you go here and choose all, and once you have chosen all, what you can do is you can compare the dimension of inflation between urban and rural, right? Which is very important, which you can't do otherwise. So then what I will do is, this is a main category. So I am going to choose the food inflation item. So before I choose a food inflation, let me just choose general index, because I need to compare general index with general index. And then when I choose, let me just see general index urban, general index urban. So let me just choose general index urban, and then I choose food for urban. So food consumer food price index urban. So let me just do that, and then I choose general index rural, and then I choose consumer food index price index rural. Yeah. Now mind you, the manner in which you choose these values, this is going to get displayed accordingly. So if you look at this, as the data gets displayed here, you will find that the display will happen. The displays of these items are going to happen. Let me just do it again. So all, and here also both, and we are going to choose here again. Let me just do general index, general. So this is a new program, so there could be some level of instability. I will make those corrections later. And then I choose food and beverages urban, and then I choose general index rural, and then I choose food and beverages. Yeah, food and beverages rural. Okay. Once I have made those choices, now you see, this is going to tell you the story. Now I start pulling this waveform in the beginning, in the time. So as I put the date index, this value is going to keep changing. So I'm pulling it ahead. So you will see that, let me just bring it back right here, because we are not going to have much time here. Now you see here, if you look at the general index for rural, which is basically giving us the inflation or rural inflation, which is 5.66. So you'll see that the food index is 4.5, as I told you, and rural it is 4.39. Now what you can do is that you can compare the individual items. Let me just do vegetable for you once, and then after we have done vegetable, we may do milk or other items depending upon the importance of those weights of those items. So let me just do vegetable, because vegetable is a very important item. So let me just choose vegetable urban, and I'll choose vegetable rural, and let's do the comparison. Now if I choose vegetable urban and rural, how the vegetable inflation has changed over a period of time between urban and rural, and I'll go incremental step by step. So if I go here step by step, we'll find that initially in May 2024, vegetable urban inflation was lower compared to vegetable rural in May 2024. As I go forward in time, the rural inflation, urban inflation is neck to neck. And then if I go forward in time, you'll find that the urban vegetable inflation has been lower compared to rural inflation, which is very strange. Even though the inflation is lower, still the urban vegetable inflation is lower compared to rural inflation, which I find it extremely strange. Why it should be like this? Now here in November 2019, the urban inflation was higher. But if I just go forward in time, you will find that most of the time, urban vegetable inflation has been lower, except for the recent period. And then you will find, if I go forward in time, you will find that it is lower. It is lower, which is kind of fluctuating in the same range. If I go further, and then if I go to the latest period, we find that the vegetable inflation as far as rural areas are concerned is higher, which is 30.2% compared to what you see in the urban areas. See? And the weight is also higher, which is 7.46 versus 4.41. So this is the reason. Looks like that rural area, there are certain structural issues to manage, and since I could not do it for each and every item, and since the video is of shorter duration, it's not possible for me to tell the whole story, and you can play with the tool yourself to understand this a little bit more better. One item let's choose, which is cereals and product, which is also having a weight. What is the weight of cereal and product? Let's look at from this. So if I look at cereal and product, you will find that the cereal and product weight of cereal and product is 6.59. So it's a very high number. So let me just check, let me just kill this, and let me just do cereal and product. Cereal and product. Let me just choose urban first, and then cereal and product rural. Once I have chosen cereal product and urban and rural, here also in the month of June 2024, you will find that it is 9%. The rural cereal inflation is much higher, and it contributes to how much? 111 basis point to the 566 basis point of inflation, right? So, and in the urban area, cereal and product contributes to only 54 basis point of the total 439 basis point. So imagine the kind of problem that we are seeing in the rural area, right? And if I go down below in the future dates, you'll find that you have to check, because there are not much time here to basically talk about, and since you will be having the access to this tool, you can do it yourself. One more item, let me just do milk item, because milk has got a weight of how much? Milk has a weight of 5.33, almost at par with cereal. So let's do that, and then I'll close. And let me just kill this cereal product, and let's do milk. So if I do milk, milk urban and milk rural, and then I just take this forward to the current time period. You can see milk product urban is a little bit problem. It contributes to 0.8, and rural is fine, because if you see it is 2.8%, it contributes to 18 basis point, and it contributes to 21 basis point. So friends, I think you probably have understood how to use this application. It kind of gives you it's a very empowering tool. And there are certain improvements I might do as I go forward in future. But as the data comes, if we just feed in the data, run this the code which I showed you, and then feed in the data, this tool will get updated and it's going to be available free for everybody to watch and see how inflation, the character of the inflation is changing in India over a period of time. So I think that is going to be very empowering to everybody, economists, policymakers, individuals, to understand the character of inflation, which is very difficult to understand otherwise by looking at static data. Even spreadsheet does not tell the story. You need to have this in this particular form. At least the weights have to be aggregated. The numbers have to be aggregated. Inflation number standalone does not make any... It does not really give us any insight as to the story of inflation. You have to look at the larger bucket and the contribution of the individual items to the larger bucket. That will tell the story. I hope that you probably found this video useful. If you have, let me know in the comment section. And if you want any kind of improvement in this tool or any GUI to be changed or any more controls that you need, I will try my level best to incorporate those. Thank you for your time. And I'll come back to you with a new video next time. Thank you very much.